The Dallas Mavericks, true or false, are more of a product of attrition of the West than they are the second best team in the NBA.
More of a product of attrition versus being the second best team in the NBA? I'll say true. I don't believe that they're the second best team in the NBA. I think they... Now, look, I knew that a couple years ago that was a fluky run. I agree with Charles Barkley when they made it to the West Finals against Golden State. Nothing about this has been fluky. Like, in my opinion, it's not even the same galaxy of conversation. They did get fortunate to get a banged-up Clippers team who's aging. They were fortunate to get a young OKC team before they're truly ready, and they were fortunate to get Minnesota. I'm not calling it, though, like, lucky. They just got fortunate with some matchups. The Denver Nuggets are still a better team to me than the Dallas Mavericks, so I don't think they're the second best team in the NBA.
I mean, they were, if you want to talk about attrition, they were the most banged up team in the matchup against the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and the Thunder and the Timberwolves consistently throughout the year were better, so I don't think attrition's the right word. I'll say false because, I mean, they were, if you look at post-trade, they were the second best team in the NBA behind the Celtics. Ultimately,
yes.
Post-trade deadline, these were the two best teams in the NBA that made it.
Yeah, I don't think they're a part of attrition necessarily. I don't believe they're the second best team in the league either. It's probably somewhere in the middle, but I guess I'd lean more closely to the product of attrition than the second best. Luka can and should win Series MVP even if the Mavs lose.
No.
It will happen.
He definitely won't. What will happen?
Will it happen? Ever? Because we've seen the
it would have to be Boston having this spreading of the production amongst the guys that they have so far, but on the other side, guys going to have to average like 38 or 40.
Because we've seen
and it goes 7.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen with a sweep of 5.
We've seen guys like in hockey win the Conn Smythe, like J.S. Jaguar won it when he did not win the cup. Super Bowl MVP.
Thurman Thomas
has happened on a losing
Did Thurman
team.
win it in the Giant game? Or
no,
that was Otis. Otis won
did.
it. But people were trying to make the case for Thurman.
Yeah. So it's happened in sports. Should it happen here this year? Like, let's say the Mavs lose. Yeah, it won't. You're right. It won't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's clearly the best player on the floor and the most valuable.
No, because, I mean, like, the betting odds have told you it doesn't even matter if it's not even the best player. It's the most prominent
No, but he's
player.
asking should.
I know, but I'm saying that should... No, probably not. The last time this happened in the NBA Finals where somebody lost and won the MVP was Jerry West. Did it in 1969, and that was going into Game 7. The Celtics were massive underdogs, and stupidly, I don't know why, they had the writers vote for Series MVP before Game 7. And so West won the MVP, and then Boston surprisingly won the game, and it was like, oh, well, West wins MVP. But in the NBA... just doesn't happen. And no, I don't. If you can't will the team to it, I don't think he should win it.
Ugh. We're getting this lack of help, though.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's getting nothing. He's getting nothing.
0. I'd like to actually see throughout the history of the finals the second highest leading score separation or top 3 for your team compared to what Luka is dealing with right now. Yeah, that would be interesting. A lack of help study.
Yeah, I mean, and beyond that, the gap not just between your team, but in everybody else in the series on both teams. Like he's 10 points per game higher almost than anybody else in the series. Anybody on either team. It's crazy the different level that he is versus what everybody else has.
And those guys are also hurt. Of course, Luka's stats are aided by him being top 2, the only option right now. And those guys' stats are harmed because they have 5 guys.
They have a bunch of guys. Yeah, they could spread the ball around. Speaking of which, Boston is, I can't think of a better word. I'll say generationally good. That's not the right word.
Are they an all-time team?
That's the question. They're generationally good, but is their lack of a single star going to prevent them from being remembered?
Great question.
Thank you.
I would lean
I just don't know
towards-
how to word it.
I would lean towards, I found that out with the attrition one.
Yeah.
I would say yes, they're going to be forgotten because of Jason Tatum not being the true superstar. Not enough separation between Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, I mean, do we forget?
And they're not splashy. Like when Steph and Clay were coming on the scene, they don't have a cool nickname like the Splash Brothers or a style of play that is so different that we're like, okay, this can take over the league from an entertainment standpoint. Like you're not watching the Boston Celtics and going, whoa, kids are gonna get addicted to this style.
I'm trying to think of the team basketball winners that we've had over the last 20, 25 years. So it would be Toronto,
Milwaukee,
Dallas, Detroit. Probably. I mean, we'll remember to like. I don't know. It's tough because they do have two big star players, whereas like Detroit, Billups doesn't rank as a star even on the level to me of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I think when you look at Dallas had Dirk, Giannis, Kawhi, but those were generally viewed as like they were doing it all by themselves. So this is a little different, but yeah, probably they'll be forgotten to some extent.
You could make an argument they are going to be like one of the future disrespected or underappreciated great teams.
Yeah.
When you put down all the analytical numbers and the 67 wins and number one defense and shooting and all that.
Is part of it, too, that people have just been waiting on them? Like, you should have already done this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We forget.
Absolutely.
Think of other title teams. A lack of a single star. Like
Detroit.
Yeah, the Pistons.
Yeah.
We largely.
Detroit did not have a superstar.
Yeah, now we remember. Now, the one thing we remember about them.
Their PA guy.
Their PA guy, yes, Mason.
Billups.
And their opponent. That's, to me.
Yes. They beat the Lakers.
They ended those. There was 3 in a row, right? They had won 3 straight.
No. San Antonio won in between them.
You said it, man. But still,
that's when they added Gary Payton and Malone.
Yeah, they beat the Lakers. No, people don't beat the Lakers, and that was, to me, with that super team, one of the first super teams that changed it for them.
And nobody, part of the Dirk title is beating the Heatles, the super team Heat.
Yeah, nobody like the 04 White Sox. They're just a really good team. They have a super duper star.
Yeah, they'll be remembered. They will be remembered in the future as a reference point for anybody who's trying to argue why they can win the finals without they'll just be used as a factor of Boston did it, Milwaukee did it, Detroit did it. That's how they'll.
But
be
if
discussed.
if you just read what they are on paper, it sounds like an all-time great team. The best offensive team in the league, individual defenders that could lock down Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. You never take that statement lightly. The best three-point shooting team in the league.
Mm-hmm. Taking the most threes, making the most threes.
Yes. 5 deep. And I mean legitimately deep with Porzingis or Holiday after your top big two.
Yep.
2 guys that had little separation. We couldn't decide who was better between Jaylen Brown and Tatum, both averaging 26 or 30, whatever it was in the Eastern Conference Finals. All that on paper is a great, great team.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, knowing that.
That team on paper is better than the Mavs. Reading those things, that's better than the 2011 Mavs team.
And they have 5 guys who have made all-star teams in their career.
Wow.
On their roster.
Yeah, the 2011 Mavs team had.
And it doesn't feel like an old Clippers achievement of,
right.
Yeah. Oh, we got 4 Hall of Famers right now that are playing, or the Cowboys offensive line. We got Tyron and Zach, and we got these old Hall of Famers that are on there. No, these guys can still make all-star teams, it feels like.
Yeah, and Drew Holiday, he's on pace for 50, 40, 95 in percentages from field, 3-point, and free throw. He'd be the first player ever in the playoffs to do that.
Wow.
That's wow. He's having a great year. Yeah, the 2011 Mavs had obviously a better singular player in Dirk. Yes. And they were deep. I mean, they were very deep. And I wonder, if they had Caron Butler, for the postseason run, would that have changed things? This is a really good team.
Mavericks version of True or False. During the Expressway, Franco injury attorney text line. Pepe, let's answer some of the questions from the tolls before we move on.
Yeah, just that last question there. 469 says some Spurs teams were forgotten.
Yes.
And the 817 says Boston's had the easiest path to the finals ever, so they will be forgotten.
No one will remember or care.
No, they won't.
Especially if they beat us down in 4 or 5.
Yep.
No one's going to remember or care.
All right, let me ask you this about the path. If they win, should this end the rest versus rust / too easy of a path, never challenged debate? Or not debate, talking point?
Should it? That's the interesting part of the question.
Yeah,
it will never die.
It will never die because it's content. I mean, people are looking for content for one. And
Yep.
I mean, both teams, the rest versus rust, no impact because Dallas was off for a week, too. So, I mean,
like some people are like, they had it too easy during the regular
path.
season. They were never challenged. And then they get to a tight game and they collapse, that kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, it won't kill it. It'll be.
Plus, we haven't had a tight game for them to be tested in the first two.
Right.
Yeah. No, it won't kill the narrative moving forward at all. People still have the discussion about it. It'll be used as a reference point of here's evidence.
And I don't think it should because, like, a humongous victory for the show, us was talking about the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants.
Yeah.
We just knew during that season that they were frauds. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers undefeated. We knew that they were frauds. So sometimes it does matter.
A lot of it depends on who you have on your team. Look, if the Patriots dynasty never had us,
East.
I mean, the AFC East was awful. Awful. And they lost their fair share of playoff games. But they they went to like 9 Super Bowls. Like, that's not a recipe that you would think would get you there by not having any kind of resistance. If they win, will this be a nail in the super team coffin?
That's another great question because the Hoops Collective was talking about the other day, super team is not the way to go. So we're already trending away from it. Will it be the nail?
Or
no.
a nail? It'll be a nail.
It will be a nail. It will not be the nail, as people will still try to, I think, collect. Like, are the Suns? Yeah. Are the Suns a nail in this? The Brooklyn Nets. When's the last super team that has been great? Made it there.
Ooh.
Not the Nets.
Warriors, yeah, after they went. But I mean, even still, they made it just as building the team before Durant got there.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if you want to change the super team era to me, it's that's going to end with the CBA, nothing else.
There are people who still, and I'm not saying it's accurate, but like there are people who will talk about, they say Boston still qualifies as one. You went out and got Drew Holiday, one of the best defensive players in the NBA. You went out and got Porzingis to be your third. You have Derek White as the 5th player who's a former first-round pick who's considered one of the better contributors. They still have a ton of big-name players on there that they've gone out and acquired who were already veterans.
Yeah, but just not, they lack the blockbuster appeal.
Yeah, they don't have like the Bosch acquisition, but they've got big guys that they've added.
How would you guys approach it if you're running a team in terms of adding Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal to Devin Booker? Would you be able to say no to it?
Nope. I wouldn't be able to say no to it. I mean, a lot of it, I would have to, a lot of it matters where you are. There are some cities that can't build super teams. Like Sacramento's never going to be able to get play, or you know what I mean?
City aside.
Dallas. City aside, it's going to be very difficult for me to say no to players that are great players, superstars that want to come here. Because it does, first of all, it gives you...
you can add LeBron James, but lose... Hypothetical. I don't know the contracts that are up. You lose Gafford, you lose Derek Jones, and you lose. Give me one more depth guy.
Josh Green.
Josh Green barely.
Oh
barely.
yeah, give me. Yeah, I'll.
You're
take
losing
LeBron.
Gafford, and you're losing PJ and Josh Green.
It's an entertainment business. No,
I'm not talking about for winning. To win.
To win. I mean, look, they're in the NBA Finals. LeBron, what did LeBron?
But they're in the NBA Finals for a major reason because of Gafford.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would, if I was in the Mavs situation, the way they are currently, I would keep the current roster.
What we found with super teams, though, generally over time, is you will get every veteran buyout player who can be a solid rotational piece to go, I'll go play for the minimum there.
Well, not in Phoenix.
Well, yeah, not there, but that's Kevin Durant. Nobody wants to play Kevin Durant.
That's right.
If Porzingis plays through pain, let's say he plays tonight, and plays well, that will make him a bigger villain in DFW even than Kyrie is in Boston.
No. Make him an even bigger villain in DFW? Yes, I thought the sentence may have stopped there. Then Kyrie in Boston? No, because we're also not capable of that as a fan base.
I think the mindset from the Dallas fan tends to lean towards, I don't know that they would villainize him. I think they would villainize people here in Dallas. Why can't you even slow down Hurt Guy? Why can't you defend Hurt? Like, I think it would turn towards criticism of the team and sort of self-loathing more than hatred of Porzingis.
That's it.
Well done.
Thank you.
NBA Finals version. Okay. Andrea Carter, CJ McCollum, Mike Greenberg all picking the Mavericks to win tonight. Of course, they want that at that network desperately, so the NBA Finals ratings don't totally plummet and disappear. I haven't seen numbers for Game 2. Anyone else?
Somebody sent me something that said it was the highest rated or most watched Game 2 ever.
One of Bobby's rare wins is that ratings mean nothing. I've never seen highest rated and lowest rated
more
often than this.
Yeah, the
ridiculous.
A lot, because let's see, Game 2 was a Sunday night. What was Game 1? Thursday. It makes no sense because like the way they're judging ratings now is way different than they ever did. They're able to count them, I think, more accurately now.
Here's a headline says Game 2 rebounds. The Game 2 ratings were the best in 5 years. Is what this
for like an NBA Finals Game 2.
Yes.
Okay.